What's going on, world? It's your main man, Kareem A. Rashid, the voice, and your host of Clearing the Wreckage. Yes, we got another great episode in store for you today. Once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be driving to work. All I ask is that you please pay attention to the road. Or you could be at work on a lunch break trying to get a quick sneak peek into this episode. Please clock back into work on time. Or you could be doing something that is very important. At least to me it is. And that is on the toilet. Please be sure to flush. Yes! My wreckage clearers, what's going on? That is your name. You are a part of this community. As I said before, a while back on another episode, I was trying to think of a name to just, come up with for this community. And we are the wreckage clearers, because that's what we do around these parts, right? That is exactly what we do. And with that being said, I want to say thank you so much to all of my listeners that are part of this community. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to walk alongside of me of this journey, right? So I got a couple of questions before we start. Have you ever had a fear that your life will always be like this? Have you ever asked yourself, is this it? What about, there's no use, I'll just keep on failing at life. So what's the use of trying? Have you ever thought to yourself, man, the same things keep on happening no matter what I do? Have you ever felt stuck? Like your life was on repeat? Have you ever had suicidal thoughts? Have you ever been so angry that you cursed God or even your very self? Have you ever been so angry that you thought to yourself, I might as well give up? Have you ever thought to yourself, I'll be alone for the rest of my life? Have you ever had persistent negative emotions, such as fear, anger, guilt, shame? Have you ever felt unworthy or undeserving of love or attention or affection? Have you ever been at a place in your life where you felt you can't trust anyone? And finally, I know I just asked a whole lot of questions. Finally, what about the feeling as if you don't like who you are? Or maybe you feel inadequate or even uncomfortable in your own skin. Well, I could tell you that I felt all of these things. I felt all of them. And I've asked myself all of these questions. So may I reassure you right now that you are not alone. Also, may I reassure you that you are human and you are so allowed to feel all of these things, and you are even allowed to question yourself. question your very own existence. It is okay. I have been there. You are not alone. Welcome to Clearing the Wreckage. Yes, this is part 2 of the death of my old identity. In part 1, we discussed the grieving process, the different stages that come with it, all of that, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. I discussed with you how I was grieving my ex leaving me or being taken away, triggered with abandonment, took me back to my childhood. Also, how I was grieving myself. My identity is what I was grieving. That was created in my formative years. All of that you already know. So now, may we dive a little bit deeper, shall we? Yes. And some parts of it we've discussed in the last episode. Not the last episode, but we probably have discussed it in the last episode, but on the first part of the death of my old identity, that I was the youngest in the family. I was left by everyone due to them being older. No one left me on purpose, right? But I also was left by my dad at a very early age. And this is where we need to pause, right here. Yes, we just needed that pause for a moment, because there are some of you in this community who have been left by a parental figure. There are even some of you in this community who might not even have been raised by your own biological parental figures. There are some of you in this community who might have been part of a foster care system while you were younger. There are some of you in this community who probably have been adopted, who probably don't even know their own biological parents. That is why we needed to pause. Sometimes it is good to take a moment for others, to create that space and hold it. This was one of the vital events that later affected me, and I did not know that. Then I got sent to stay with my dad, a man I did not know, a man I feared, a man I was totally afraid of. Why, you may ask, Kareem? Well, because growing up, and this is from my vantage point at least, and first of all, let me state this disclaimer. Anybody that I discuss in this episode, I am not discrediting them, defaming their character, or dishonoring them in any way. This is my story. This is from my perspective only. Capiche? Got it? All right, let's move on. From my vantage point, I got punished by my dad. And all I heard in that house growing up was the deep, loud, stern, scary, monstrous voice of a man. Yelling, volatility, screams. This is from my viewpoint, from my vantage point as a kid. I thought my dad was mad all the time. Walk with me, please. Go with me there. Go with me there in this episode, please. As we have this conversation, I want you to go with me. I am a kid growing up in a household of 5. I am the youngest. I got punished, and all I heard in that house was a deep, loud, stern, scary, monstrous voice of a man. Whenever I made a mistake, I got punished for it. Now, to me, I was a kid, so yes, they were mistakes in my eyes. I was growing up. I was learning. Got to make mistakes in order to learn. This is the beginning of my identity, as to where I might start pretending or walking even on eggshells, or hey, let's do everything right and perfect. Why? To not be punished, to not make him upset, or to not experience the deep, loud, stern, scary, monstrous voice. Yes, from that point is where I began to hate myself. And after my parents' divorce, I hated him. Why? Because he left. Now, from a child's perspective, I want you to walk with me. All I knew was that my dad was no longer in the house. And from that perspective, my dad left me. He abandoned his own kids. That is the perspective that I had. Walk with me, please. Walk with me. It is now 2025. I'm not talking about my present perspective. So walk with me. Go back. Go back with me, please. Okay. So as a kid, I didn't fully grasp the concept of divorce or anything like that. I was just abandoned. Period, point blank. You left. How could you do such a thing to your own kids? How could you just leave us like that, Dad? These were the questions. I don't see you anymore. I may see you every once in a blue moon on a weekend or hang out with you. But all I know is that you just left us. How could you leave? Then, here's the kicker in all of that. Then I had to go stay with the man that left me. I felt abandoned by my mother. How could you send me to a man that I do not know? Again, I also did not fully understand, y'all. I was a kid. I'm talking now from that child's perspective. I'm going back and I'm bringing the pain up that was there at the time. Walk with me, please. Yes. Woo, boy, I'm preaching today. I viewed my dad as a monster. How in the hell could you go? How could you send me with? What are you doing, Mom? This man, I'm scared. I'm afraid of my life. From my kid's perspective, walk with me now. My dad did not raise me. My mother did. My dad was not there. He left. So all these were reasons to hate myself, my life, and of course, my dad. I couldn't stand him. I was like, what? You left me. And then I get sent to stay with him. I was 9 years old when I got sent to stay with my dad. Might I mention, my dad was married again to a woman. So from my vantage point, I'm 9 years old, I'm going to stay with you, and then I have to meet this other woman who will never, ever replace my mother. You will not replace my mom. So I hated my life again. And I hated him and I hated that woman. Walk with me now. Please. I'm not talking from this perspective as I am now, as a grown man. I'm talking from that perspective. I'm bringing the pain out that I was feeling at the time. The hurt, the pain, the resentment, the anger, the fear. How could you send me to go stay with the man who is now married to another woman who is trying to replace you, Mom? So I'm there with my dad. Now I'm angry at my mom. I'm angry at my stepmom. I'm angry at my dad. I'm angry at everybody. And I hated my life. Why? As a kid, these were the questions that I asked myself. Why is all of this happening? Also, go with me now. Go with me for a minute. My dad had a whole different life, to me at least, and I was not part of it. So when I went to stay with him, I wanted nothing to do with him or his new wife or his new life that he was now living. Might I add that once my dad left, besides the very few times that I recall at least, when we saw him for the weekend or whatnot, I didn't hear from him for years. This made me even more angry. You're sending me to go stay with the man that abandoned me, who wanted nothing to do with me. And in my own eyes, he hated me. And then, I must be unworthy or undeserving of his love. Now, this is when the I must be perfect attitude started to form and became part of my identity. Walk with me. I must not get into any trouble. I must stay on course, at least while I'm around my dad, or else there would be punishment. Because all I remember is the times when I was younger, when I got punished, and when I had to hear that, deep, loud, monstrous voice. And when I got my butt tore up by him. I barely had any good memories of my childhood with my dad being there actively in it. Perfection I must achieve. Please him in all ways that I am asked of. Perfect grades, perfect posture. Sit up, boy. Perfect love, perfect face, perfect actions, or else. I was in fear of my life. Now, this is the other part of my identity that was being formed. Fear. I lived in it. Y'all, I lived in it. So all I had once I got sober and clean was fear, anger, and I must be perfect as my identity. I must please everyone or else there will be punishment. I was afraid of being afraid. I was afraid of being angry or even showing my anger. Remember, we had a conversation a while back. I think it was episode 13. The wreckage starts early, huh? That episode. How I could not, growing up, show my emotions. I must suppress them. I must put on the right, perfect face. Even if I'm sad, even if I'm mad, I cannot show that to anyone. And I must not ever shed a tear. I was afraid of being afraid. I was afraid of being angry. I was afraid that I may cry. I was afraid that I may have an outburst of anger. I cannot show any emotions around this man, or else. And then, of course, that carried into every relationship, including the one with myself. My identity was perfection, anger, and fear. I was extremely hard on myself. This was already formed because guess who was stern and hard on me? Yep, my dad. And that, my friends, brings us to why I was asking these questions and why I was dying. Like a snake that sheds its own skin, I was shedding off my old skin, my old self. And part of dying is darkness. When something dies, it doesn't see anything. When we die, we don't see nothing. Not right away. Not right away, at least. Just as the seasons, fall, winter, spring, and summer, everything was falling apart and I was coming into my winter season. I was coming into complete darkness. I mean, even bears go into complete darkness. They go and hibernate and sleep for the whole winter. When I got sober, and even before that, I was homeless. Darkness I sat in, then came into the light. I had to sit in darkness in order for me to see the light. So I started seeing peace, bit by bit, crevices of light creeping in. Once I decided to get help and get sober and clean, right? Then as the years went by, I was seeing more light as I continued to expose the darkness. And that is pretty much everything you heard from up until this point, right? From the first episode to now. Me clearing the wreckage. But my goodness, oh my gosh, I did not know. I did not know there was so much wreckage still to be cleared. I thought I had cleared it, y'all. I thought I was done. I was doing all the things to clear it. I'm going to church. I'm going to therapy. I'm sober and clean. I'm going to my recovery meetings. I'm doing everything that I need to do to clear this doggone wreckage. Why do I still feel this way, man? Why do I feel so broken? Last episode, last conversation we had, right? Why must I go through this again and again and again? I'm falling apart. I started asking those questions, the same questions that I asked you at the beginning of this conversation. And those questions came about due to only the wreckage, the destruction that was formed in my old identity, formed by parental figures, formed by my formative years. These things were being formed inside of me, and I did not know. Fear, the pursuit of perfection, being formed inside of me. When I make a mistake, anger comes, and more fear because I am going to be punished for not being perfect. Man, y'all. So I became very, 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 very good at pretending. Oh, yeah. Pretending and acting, I was great at it. Man, I should have won a freaking Oscar for the starring role of Kareem's life. Because I knew how to pretend. I'll take you back real quick. You know, when I was staying with my dad from age 9 to 15, I pretended around him. I pretended. I tried. I worked my tail off to be perfect in front of him. But when I was not around my dad, I wasn't doing the right thing. I did the right thing. And right now, of course, every kid, you know, everybody can relate to that just about, you know, mostly can. Because as a kid, yeah, around our parents, we're goody two-shoes. When we're away from them, only some of us, some of us. I have more wreckage than most of y'all, but some of us played the pretend game around our parental figures, but away from them, we were hellions. At least I was. At least I was. So I pretended like everything was okay. Like, I am okay on the outside, but on the inside, I'm dying. But I will not let you see what is going on the inside of me, because right now it's dark, and I don't want you coming inside with me to deal with my darkness. I can deal with it myself. So for now, I'm just going to smile. I'm going to pretend and act like I'm all good, man. Everything's Gucci, my friend. So I'm going to go to church. I'm going to praise this God like I really love this God. Like I really have this, amazing relationship with this God. Tell everyone else that they will be punished if they don't give themselves to this God. Call everyone else out on their crap and pretend like you are the perfect one. At work, tell all your coworkers how much of sinners they really are. And they need God, or else. I'm serious, y'all. I am dead serious. This is how I walked around. Can you believe it? I walked around like this. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the world. Yep, tell people on social media. Show them your perfect relationship. Quote scriptures. Preach to people. Put all this on social media. Put all this out in the atmosphere. Well, you know, God says in the Bible that. Thump people across the head with the Bible. Get them straight. Pretend, because nobody knows really how much of a hellion you are, Kareem, because you will not expose that to anyone. To anyone. I was dying on the inside, pretending on the outside, all while being in total darkness. I hated me and everyone around me, but mostly it was me that I did not like. Oh, and this so-called God for doing this to me, for me being abandoned again, all while I was doing everything right. At least I thought. Well, goodness, I must have done something wrong, right? Because I ain't being punished. I ain't being punished. My goodness, I tell you. Oh, man. That is how I lived my life, y'all. And, you know, I really did think that I was being punished. Because It was the pursuit of perfection. This was my identity. So I did think I was being punished, but I was not being punished, y'all. I was not. I was simply being crucified. I was simply shedding my skin. I was simply going back into the grave, going back into the ground. My identity that was formed with religion, perfection, fear, anger was dying. You are not perfect. You're not one who lives in fear. You're not one who is angry at yourself or the world, even your parents or your siblings. And you are not your religion. You are not your occupation. Let's go there for a minute. Let's go there for a minute. You know what I think that is really, now at least in my life, I think this and I believe this. What is really crazy, and maybe I shouldn't use the word crazy, but it just disturbs me a little bit. That when someone said, you're getting to know somebody and, you ask them their name, and then next thing you ask them is, well, what do you do? And they tell you what they do. Well, I'm a nurse. And they say, I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse. We include our identity into the job or the profession that we are doing. Let me burst everybody's bubble real quick. Your identity is not your job. Your identity is not the fact that you're a nurse or a doctor. That is your profession, and that is all it is. That's all it is. Why do we do that as humans? Why do we do that? Well, you know what we need to start doing? I proclaim that we need to start doing this. When you introduce yourself to somebody, you tell them exactly who you are. Exclude your profession. Exclude your religious preference. Oh, my name is such and such and I'm a Christian. Exclude that crap. That's not who you are. Oh, my name's Kareem and I'm a manager at such and such. Yep, I've been working there for, 3 years now. Uh-huh. And then we leave. That's it. That's all that the person needs to know about you. Also exclude where you're from, because that's the next question that somebody's going to ask. Oh, well, where you're from? That has nothing to do with my identity. You mean to tell me that I'm supposed to attach the place that I'm from with my identity? And we walk around and do that. Yeah, I'm from such such. That's why I'm such weight. No, man. You're not that way because of the place you were born at or the place. You're not that way because of the place that you were born at. Now, yes, don't get me wrong. Some of us do become products of our environment. But that still is not your identity. You get that, right? You get that you just were influenced and you became a product of something. That's not your identity, though. So we go all our lives, just about, some of us even all of our lives, till we're dead. We're 75 years old, still not knowing who we really are. And you know what? At this time, I believe, during this time when I was going through this, my creator, my real creator, not my parents, was like, you are going to know who you are. You're going to know who you are before you die. Because it is meant for you to know who you are. And I showed you to know who you are. And so the old you must go. And that is what my creator was saying. The old you must go. And as the voice of my higher self or the voice of the creator would say, this hurts so much right now. Oh my gosh, you're in so much pain, and I understand the pain that you're going through, but I must take you through this darkness again. I must take you through this pain. I must take you through this winter season so that you can come out and you can grow on fertile ground and you can sprout, and then you can start seeing some light, and so that you can become your true self. This part of you is not your identity. It must die. So now let me ask you a question. Those same questions that I asked you at the beginning. Do you feel uncomfortable in your skin? Do you feel like there's a part of me, there is something missing here. There's some kind of missing link. And you might go searching for someone to fix you or save you. You might go to church and be like, oh, well, I guess I need religion. I need another job. Oh, well, maybe I need to just move away. And you start searching and searching and searching for all these things. Maybe you just need to die. Maybe you're going through this time because the creator is trying to prune back all of these layers that you have placed upon yourself that were being formed in an early age, and it is time for you to die. Because that is not who you really are. It is time for your skin to shed. Trust the process. Oh, how I love those 3 words now in my life. But I can tell you right now and reassure you that you are not alone. Because if you are going through everything that I just stated to you, you're feeling uncomfortable in your skin, you're grieving, and you're just in this dark place, it's not because you need to give up something. It's because you need to give up. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop trying to be this person that was created. Stop trying to be this religious person that hides behind church, that gets on social media and post scriptures and tell everybody else that they're going to hell. What about you? What about you? Oh no, I ain't going to hell. I'm saved. You only believe that because of what you have been told, because of what has been formed. You don't really know your real identity. You're going off of what you've been told. And like I said, a lot of us, all the way to our graves, go off of everything we have been told, and that's gospel. Oh, our parents told us this. Oh, the pastor said. Oh, I got a challenge for you. If you're going to church and you're doing all that, open up your Bible and read it for yourself. And before you read it, ask for an open mind and ask for wisdom. The Bible even says you don't have wisdom because you don't ask for it. Bet you can't find that scripture. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on. I'm not going to go off. That is who I was, though. Y'all, that is who I was. I was walking around thumping people across the head with the Bible. And I didn't know it. I really didn't know it myself. I really didn't know exactly what I was supposed to get from that. Neither what I was supposed to get from church. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it was right now. Church, religion, what your parents tell you who to be, how to be, what to become, all these things, is to create structure. It is simply that. It's to create some type of structure that you can hold on to. But that is not your identity. It is not your identity. You know, you growing up, learning how to work, learning how to do certain jobs, learning how to do different, trades and different things like that, going to school, all these different things. It's not your identity. It is just a part of creating structure. And all of those things that were creating structure in my life, in my early stages, in my first half of life is what I would call it, needed to be crucified. I needed to shed my skin, and I needed to go back into the ground so that I can sprout on fertile ground and become the person that I am today. Oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad. But all of that, all of what I went through was to make me into the man that I am today, to form my true identity. So if you're going through it, just trust the process. And how easy I can say that now, but when I was going through it, I did not trust that process at all. Next time we meet, we're going to talk about the death of my old identity again. Yep, part 3. And it gets even darker. Because what I just shared with you, this little part, was just me coming into a little bit of the darkness. Man, I ain't go down into the grave yet. It wasn't complete darkness yet. There was still some light. There was still some crevices of light that I could see. Part 3, you're going to see that it gets really, really, really dark. I love you guys so much. And I am sorry that, well, I'm not sorry. This episode was about me dying. There was a lot of wreckage involved, and I get that. But just walk with me, and stay with me on this journey. And you will hear how the wreckage is continually being cleared. It's continually being cleared. Right now, to this day, and even how I cleared it again back then. But that right there is how the wreckage was being cleared, but it was not being cleared by me. It was being cleared by something greater than me. To say, you got to go through this so that this wreckage can clear, because you're fighting. You have not given up. You're fighting against me. You're fighting against life. You don't know who you are. You're fighting against this old identity. You're uncomfortable in your skin. It is time for me to shed this skin. You know, like a snake that sheds its skin. You think that a snake actually does that. The snake goes, oh, it's time for me to shed my skin. The snake definitely knows the season, that's for sure, and they're ready for it. That's the difference between humans and the snake. The snake is ready for that season. The bear is also ready for that season. Oh, well, here comes winter. Let me go into my cave and hibernate. Humans, we're not ready for those things that happen. They just happen. They just happen. And it is so hard for us to trust the process. But I tell you what, if we trust that process, it gets a lot easier as the time goes by. It'll be hard. But when you come out of that, whoo, I tell you, once you come out, you're like, oh my goodness, I had to go through that. You have no regrets. So stick with me. Next time, like I said, we're going to talk about part 3, the death of my old identity, because I had to keep on dying, y'all, so this wreckage could continue to clear. And as I always leave you, take some time to look inside so that what? So that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.